Right, so welcome back to another video on this channel. Welcome back to another episode of my Premier League Game Week prediction series. This is now Game Week 28, so we're well and truly coming to the business end of the season in the next few weeks now. And yeah, during the week, of course, in Game Week 27, I got myself 3 points, which I know is absolutely dire, even with the fact there was only 7 matches in that game week. Still, I want to get a lot better this weekend, so hopefully we can do so. But before we get into this video, I would like to quickly ask you guys to subscribe to this channel as always. And yeah, we are looking at 1,500 subscribers on this channel as soon as you possibly can. So if you were to hit that subscribe button right now, it would cost you absolutely nothing and would make my day, so it's very much a win-win situation. And without further ado, let's get into these Game Week 28 predictions. Starting off with the game at Turf Moor on Saturday lunchtime kickoff, Burnley versus Arsenal. Now, first of all, Arsenal looked really impressive against Leicester last weekend in that 3-1 win at the King Power Stadium. They don't really have much to play for in the Premier League anymore. I think it's mainly just in the Europa League. They're competing now after that win against Benfica a few weeks back, and yeah, they pretty much have a full fit squad for this one as well, which is always positive. Burnley, on the other hand, got a solid point against Leicester in midweek, and you know, especially after that drubbing by Spurs last weekend in that 4-0 win, and slowly but surely guaranteeing their safety. As I keep saying on this series, they keep picking up points on a consistent basis, just enough to obviously get themselves away from relegation trouble. And an important factor in this game, you know, actually my prediction for this game, is the fact that Arsenal have had a week to prepare, while Burnley of course did play midweek as well as playing last weekend. And another thing as well, Arsenal have got Thomas Partey back, which I think is absolutely massive, not only because of he's a great player, but also in the balance of their team and their midfield in general. And for that reason, I think that Arsenal will take 3 points in this one, and that is why I've gone for Burnley 0, Arsenal 2, and yeah, I just think that Arsenal will just about edge this one, just because of the fact that they played midweek and they have Thomas Partey back, who is a massive figure in their team. Now onto the second game, and that is taking place at Bramall Lane, Sheffield United versus Southampton. Now, Sheffield United did really well in midweek to beat Aston Villa by 1-0. I still think it's too late for them. I just think they're here just to be here, if you know what I mean. I think that just, you know, they're here just to take points off teams anywhere they can. Southampton couldn't be on worse form at this moment in time. I mean, they haven't won a game in the Premier League for, I think, 2 months today. I think the last time they beat a team in the Premier League was Liverpool on the 4th of January, which is just absolutely mental. But here is a good opportunity for them to take 3 points for the first time since, of course, the 4th of January. Both teams are missing a fair few players, you know, in their first team regulars to injury, which I definitely sympathise with them for that. But surely Southampton get the points here. I'm going to go with Sheffield United 1, Southampton 2. I just feel like Southampton, they can't keep losing and dropping points, and I think they will, you know, take this opportunity by the scruff of the neck, and I think they will claim 3 points at Bramall Lane. Now to the next game, taking place at Villa Park, somewhat of a Midlands derby. Well, not somewhat, it is a Midlands derby. Aston Villa versus Wolves, and yeah, Aston Villa have been really inconsistent this second half of the season. I mean, they just seem to win, lose, draw, win, lose, draw. It just seems to be that kind of record for them. They're definitely not as creative without Jack Grealish in their team. I think we've seen that in recent weeks. Wolves look really similar to their old selves, in fairness, even without Raul Jimenez, of course, as we keep mentioning. They did get smacked 4-1 by City in midweek, but to be honest, before that, their form was pretty good, and they took 3 wins from possible, you know, 5 in their last 5 games before that game. And to be honest, it doesn't look like Jack Grealish is going to be, you know, fit in time for this one. I think this actually has the ingredients to be a brilliant contest, because it's 2 teams that are, you know, very solid. Both, you know, have similar ranges of quality, and for that reason, I can't separate them. I'm going to go for Aston Villa 1, Wolves 1, and yeah, I just feel like this one, it has a draw written all over it, if I'm honest. Now to the next game, taking place at the Amex Stadium, Brighton versus Leicester. Now, Brighton, back-to-back defeats for them, but I'm not going to lie, they were purely and utterly robbed against West Brom with that Lewis Dunk free kick that was, of course, disallowed. Still well within the relegation danger though, Brighton, because I'm pretty sure now they're only 3 points above the relegation places at this moment in time. Leicester could only get a point against Burnley after that, of course, really disappointing defeat to Arsenal last weekend at the King Power Stadium. Do have a lot of injuries, and to be honest, it could be a case of them limping over the line, unlike they did last season when, you know, obviously they collapsed in the second half of the season. Could that be the case? And yeah, this game is a massive for both teams, because of course Brighton wanting to, you know, get away from the relegation places, and Leicester will want to make themselves way more comfortable in the race for the top 4. Wesley Fofana back for Leicester as well, which is massive, and I think will make them a lot more solid defensively. And for that reason, and the fact that I think Leicester have a lot more quality than this Brighton team, even with the injuries they do have, I'm going to go for Brighton 0, Leicester 1, a narrow Leicester win that will of course make them more comfortable in the top 4. Now to the next game, and this is at the Hawthorns, West Brom versus Newcastle. Now obviously on paper it seems like a really dull game, but I will be watching this one because this game has huge significances on the relegation battle. First of all, if West Brom were to actually win this one, they would cut the gap on Newcastle to just 6 points. Still a really long shot for me for West Brom to actually survive, but of course they will give themselves a fighting chance if they were to take 3 points in this one. Newcastle have a real fight to keep their heads above water at this moment in time, because as you'll all know, Alan Saint-Maximin, Callum Wilson and Miguel Almiron, arguably Newcastle's biggest threats going forward, they're all injured to, you know, late March, April, May at the earliest, which is just absolutely massive for them. And to be honest, I do see this one being a really boring game, simply down to the fact that I think both teams will be absolutely terrified to lose this one, and for that reason I've gone for West Brom 0, Newcastle 0, and I just think this game is about who shithouses the other one more, if I'm honest. Now to the next game, taking place at Anfield, Liverpool versus Fulham. Now Liverpool low-key in crisis at this moment in time. They've lost 5 of the last 6 Premier League games, lost the last 5 games in the league at Anfield, which is just mental considering the run of form they had before that. Were absolutely played off the park by Chelsea last night, I'm not going to lie, in that 1-0 defeat. And on the other hand, Fulham, really unfortunate not to get at least a point from the Tottenham game at Craven Cottage in midweek. Were absolutely robbed, I think, with Josh Maja's goal that was disallowed for a handball by Mario Lemina somehow. I think they need that bit of spark and mentality, Fulham, because I just don't think they can outscore teams quite enough, and for that reason I think it will be quite tough for them to actually win this one and, you know, win games in general. But to be honest, I don't think it can get much worse for Liverpool at this stage, if I'm honest, and I do think they will return to winning ways, but just about. I'm going to go for Liverpool 2, Fulham 1, and yeah, I just think that Liverpool will marginally beat this Fulham team and get back to winning ways. And now on to the next game, the biggest game of the weekend by no doubt whatsoever, the Manchester derby between Manchester City and Manchester United. Now, City, do we need to say anything more about them? I mean, they've won their last 21 games in all competitions, they're walking their way to the Premier League title, and I think a win here would just speed up the process a bit, if I'm honest, because I think we all know at this stage they are going to win the league now. On the other hand, 3 consecutive goalless draws for Manchester United in all competitions against Real Sociedad, Chelsea and now Crystal Palace. They were so bad against Crystal Palace in midweek, it was absolutely ridiculous. And to be honest though, this would be the type of game that they would show up and actually win, in fairness to them. But to be honest, I just don't think United will win this, I'm not going to lie. I think it will be a relatively low scoring game, as always is, for Manchester United of course, and that is why I've gone for Manchester City 1, Manchester United 0. I do think United could potentially get a point, but I just think, you know, you can't bet against City, as I say every single week on this prediction series. Now to the next game taking place at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, of course, Tottenham versus Crystal Palace. Now, Spurs got back-to-back wins in the Premier League for the first time since November, which is just absolutely mental, with wins against Burnley and Fulham respectively. Jose looks to have let the shackles off a little bit, because they actually went for it against Burnley and they won 4-0, went for it a bit against Fulham, and of course did claim 3 points with a clean sheet in that game as well. In terms of Crystal Palace, I mean, Wilfred Zaha, I know as I keep saying on this series, he still is absent for Crystal Palace, which of course is absolutely massive, so it will be tough for them, but to be fair to them, they've defended like absolute warriors in their last few games, unbeaten in their last 3 games in the Premier League, which is just fair play to them, if I'm honest. And yeah, maybe Palace can make it 4 unbeaten in the Premier League, but I've got to back Spurs, especially if they do go for it the way that they do against Burnley and Fulham, and for that reason I've gone for Tottenham 2, Crystal Palace 0, and yeah, would be 3 wins in a row and 3 clean sheets in a row if this was to happen for Jose Mourinho's Tottenham. And yeah, and now on to the next game at Stamford Bridge, my club, Chelsea versus Everton. Now this is absolutely massive, gargantuan in the race for the top 4. The best I've seen Chelsea play in quite some time against Liverpool last night. I mean, they were absolutely unbelievable. Thomas Tuchel's got us playing with energy, tenacity, desire. Everton at this moment in time under Carlo Ancelotti just grinding out wins at the moment. I mean, they're winning the game by the odd goal every now and then. Not as good going forward, I'm not going to lie, without James Rodriguez, and they don't look as stylish going forward or as creative going forward, and I'm actually not sure whether he'll start this game or not, which will have massive implications on the result of this game in my opinion. And yeah, we just look so resolute since Thomas Tuchel's arrival, and especially if James Rodriguez doesn't play for Everton, I don't think they'll be able to break us down, and for that reason I've gone with Chelsea 1, Everton 0, you know, as is for Chelsea. We always tend to win games by 1 goal or so, so yeah, I do think we will do the same, and I think we will marginally beat Everton on Monday night. Now to the next game taking place also on Monday night at the Olympic Stadium, West Ham versus Leeds. Now West Ham very much still in Champions League contention. I mean, it seems like they're only averaging 1 loss every month, which is just fair play to them, if I'm honest. They're such a solid, hard-working, organised team, and David Moyes definitely deserves a lot of credit for the way he has them set up. On the other hand, not much more I can say about Leeds. They're just a mixed bag. They're so difficult to predict, as always. Still missing Calvin Phillips, which in my personal opinion is absolutely major because he, you know, makes them tick. And it will be tough for them in that mind, and I was actually going to go for a draw on this one, but then I remembered Leeds United do not do draws in the Premier League, and for that reason I think that West Ham will just about have the edge on this Leeds team. I've gone with West Ham 2, Leeds 1, and yeah, would move West Ham back into the top 4 at that stage. And now on to the 11th game of this game week, and that is taking place also at the Etihad this weekend, Manchester City versus Southampton next Wednesday night. And obviously I've said everything I need to say in regards to the recent happenings of both teams. I'm just going to get straight to the point here. I'm going to say that Manchester City are going to continue their win onto 23 wins after that win in the Manchester derby, and I've gone for Manchester City 2, Southampton 0, and yeah, that phrase again, you can't bet against City, and to be honest, I can't see them losing any game of football at this moment in time. And yeah, so those are my Premier League Game Week 28 predictions. If you want to go and leave your predictions for these games down in the comment section below, please feel free to do so, because as usual, I'm very interested to see how you guys think these games will go. And yeah, that will bring us to the end of this video now, so if you did enjoy this video, make sure to drop a like, because 20 likes as per usual will be massively appreciated by myself. And as I said at the start of this video, if you could subscribe to the channel, because we are now looking at 1,500 subscribers on this channel as soon as we possibly can, it would be massively appreciated if you were to hit that subscribe button right now. I'll see you guys in my next video. See ya.